Welcome to Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. Join the podcast mogul Phil Better as he interviews successful entrepreneurs that make their living in the digital world. Now, let's join your host, Phil Better, and his special guest today on Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast.
Welcome to another episode of Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast, where we dive into the journey of those who have carved their own paths in the digital world. Today, we have a guest who brings a wealth of knowledge and a unique perspective of overcoming adversity and embracing cultural diversity to achieve personal and professional success. Born and raised in Albania, our guest crossed continents to make Canada her home over 2 decades ago. Embracing the richness of her native and adoptive cultures, she has navigated through personal and professional challenges, transforming them into stepping stones towards success. A graduate in business management, she ventured into the world of numbers. But not just any numbers. No, she's a seasoned tax accountant with a twist. She has spent 20 years in the field working both for the government of Canada and her own private CPA practices in Lower Mainland. However, what sets her apart is her approach to her profession. She believes that only barrier between people and their potential abundance are blocks and limiting beliefs, making her not so traditional accountant. Beyond her professional endeavors, she's a loving mother, an avid reader, and a yoga enthusiast. After my own heart, pretty much. She's dedicated herself to daily education through literature, art, healing, and healthy living, and is deeply passionate about life. Her commitment to growth and empowerment extends beyond her personal development, and she's also a co-author of 2 insightful books, Navigating Through Human Experience and Addicted to Bliss. A recognized voice in empowering women, she has graced several stages as a keynote speaker at women empowering events in Vancouver and shares her expertise at the BCFM Conference on Human Resources, focusing on employee versus contractor dynamics. So please welcome me a remarkable individual whose journey and insight inspires us all to navigate to the next level. Please give a warm welcome to Alma Tarelli. Alma, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me here. I am so excited to join your podcast. We came across in Facebook, so when you invited me, I'm like, finally I get a chance to speak to your podcast also. Pleasure. It's my pleasure to be here.
I'm so excited to start talking because you have a very unique story, because you came from another country, traveled all the way to Canada. I have to ask you first of all, because as a Canadian, I have to know, why did you choose Canada? Why Canada?
Well, I was born and raised in Albania, and I moved to Canada because I get married, actually. My husband was a Canadian citizen. I got married and I moved here. But apart from this, I have to say that I love Canada. It's my home country now. I embraced this country from day one that I came, and I have had so many opportunities being here. It's a wonderful country to live. If I had to choose now to go back or to live anywhere else, I would not change place. So this is my home now.
So you've come accustomed to the cold, that the winters come.
Initially we used to live in Toronto, and it
Okay.
was cold. We moved in Vancouver, and I love it here. It's a place to be. I love Vancouver. I have to tell you that it's quite a bit of change from where I come from, because the way I was raised and grew up, Albania was a communist country. So coming from the regime and moving here was a huge change for me. I'm an accountant, as you said. I'll introduce myself to your listeners. And I used for CRA, Canada Revenue Agency, in the beginning here, and moved to work with different practices around Vancouver. And I have noticed in my experience that people and money act a certain way. And we always think that money is physical, and it is beyond that. Yesterday was the last day of tax season. I hope you filed your taxes. It is my job to remind you. Yes?
Thank you for reminding me. I did. I had my accountant on my rear end, reminding me daily, and I got it done. but yes, it is very important.
And so yesterday was the last day of all the business for me. And I have two types of clients that I met yesterday, and I just want to share a quick story so you could see the difference. So one of them comes, he owes quite a bit of money. He comes to the office with a donut, and I was reluctant to tell him, you have to pay $15,000 this year. And he's like, yes. And he's like, I know, I made more money this year. Okay, so this is client number one. And client number two is, oh my gosh, I'm scared to come and meet you. How much money do I owe? I'm afraid of paying taxes. In exactly same level of income. Do you see the difference? So
One
the
is
first
okay.
client, the first client is not afraid of paying taxes. He'll progress and do better. And I've seen my clients, they have almost the same return as they had the last 3 years, with a little bit of growth, but you are more or less in the same level of income.
Mhm.
But one of them is growing, is not afraid of taxes. He knows how much you owe. You do a simple math. And the other one lives in fear of, oh my God, I have to pay taxes. I don't want to make much money because I'm going to pay taxes. So that is the reason I have seen so many clients from lower income earners to 7-8 figures. And I know that it's not about physical money. It's the belief that you have behind the money. It is the way you grew up. And there are so many other things, but mostly there are blocks that stand between us and the money. Let me ask you a question. Would you like to have $1 million today?
I would love to have $1 million. I don't think there's not
Everyone.
one person in the world, anybody. I
Of
would
course.
question when they say no. That's where I would want to know why.
Okay, so suppose that you have a $60,000 income per year. Okay, so you are a 60 volt light bulb. And you want to have $1 million. So you want $1 million light bulb. Do you think that a million volt will be okay with a 60 volt that you right now?
No,
Why not?
because you'll blow up because it's too powerful.
Exactly. That's what happened with most of people. People, they are in a certain condition and they want to have so much money, but they don't have the capacity to hold it. They don't have the capacity. They don't believe. They don't deserve that they can have that money. And during my experience, I have noticed that there are so many limiting beliefs that we have around money. But the main three are that you're not worthy, you don't deserve to have that. The second one is that I have to work really hard. This is one that I had. My father worked all his life. My mom also. Me and my husband, we worked all our lives, and we were in the same cycle. You see, money was not easy. You really have to work hard physically. And then there are other limiting beliefs that rich people are corrupt. So these are the main three. I keep repeating this, but basically that's what it comes down. If you grew up, suppose if you were into religion, your family was into religion, and you hate rich people, you are never going to be rich because you don't want to be one of them. I always take this as an example. What happened if, because people say, oh, the government, rich people are this, rich people that. What happened to Elon Musk if we take all his money? Do you think he's going to suffer? Ever?
Probably not.
Why not?
Because he has the idea that he can remake the money.
Exactly. He has the ultimate belief in himself that he will produce something. And it's not, he doesn't do something because of the money. Money is the byproduct. He lives in the creation.
Yes.
Creation in the flow.
I love that. Oh. So I usually start the podcast off with, why did you become an entrepreneur? But it seems that we're way past that with your journey.
I can share something quickly.
Yeah,
I actually want to congratulate every single person that is an entrepreneur or start a business. I actually encourage my clients, even if you work for a paycheck, you have that comfort blanket, start a business. You know why? Because you know yourself better. You would be without the comfort blanket of a paycheck, you'd not be so lazy. Your mind will start working. You'll discover yourself in the journey. You'll know how to talk to people if you have to sell a product. You'd know where to direct your energy yourself. You'd know what to give attention to. So I actually push my clients to open a business, first of all, for this reason, because you get to do what you love. And secondly, that you take advantage of the system. The system, our economical system is made to support businesses. You can claim everything in a business, right? You are an entrepreneur, right?
Yes.
You claim everything. You claim the space office that you use right now for the house. You claim your laptop. You claim your meals, meeting with the clients. You claim your telephone. You claim everything, basically. The system is made to support businesses, investors, etc. The system, people think that when you have a paycheck, you are safe, but actually you are taxed more. Employees with a T4 are taxed more than the people that have a self-employed business, or investors for that matter. So I encourage people to be entrepreneurs. You discover yourself more, you do what you love, and then that's where you are. That's where you stand between you and success. What is it between you and success? And you start being creative, right? And you generate more money if you're lucky, and not only lucky, but if you direct your energy toward that, you'll have success. You try yourself. If you work for an 8 to 5 job, it's okay. After a while, you get bored, unless you only like that comfort, which is lazy, in my opinion, and you stay in that level.
I love it. I love how you're talking about how it is I love the light bulb example you used, like to describe it. It's a magnifique, and they're using my French there, but it's a genius way of establishing how we have to think about it. Because a lot of people are like, "Hey, everything's a wave, everything's an energy," and like for a lot of people, it's a concept that's a little esoteric. It's a little out there because like, oh, I have to think of I'm an energy, waves, but thinking about, no, you're a light bulb, the amount you make, 60K, is the vibration or the level of power. And if you want to make 100, you need to create a better bulb. I love it. It's a genius. I never thought of it. I thank you, Alma, for that.
You're welcome. Yes, that's what I think every day. Do you have the capacity for everything? Or even if I see client, I actually could tell who enters in my door the capacity that they have. Do you have the capacity to hold? Because everyone says, "Oh, I want money. I want money." I want actually to share something. 15 years ago, there was a live show. I think was done, a real live show in US, in New York, and they showed in TV, and I watched it, and that was the first time that I had this information. It blows my mind. They made this experiment with a homeless person, again, not being judged or anything, and they gave this person $1 million in a suitcase. They hid a camera in it, and they follow what was going to happen, and is his life going to change? So that was the experiment that was done 15 years ago. I remember it very clearly. What do you think happened to the person? He had $1 million. Lots of people say, "I wish I had $1 million. I wish I had $1 million." What do you think it happened? Do you think his life changed?
I would hope his life changed because he was able to realize a lot of his goals that he needed. He could get a place to live, food, clean up. I want to say that it changed his life.
Okay, so the result is, I'll save the time
Please.
so we can talk about other things. It did not change. Within 6 months, the person was exactly in the same position that he was. What happened during those 6 months? All his money, he spent it with all his friends, bought cars for friends. He got a girlfriend that he never had it before. And I remember this episode, which was a bulb to me. He said in the interview after that, "I went to a nice hotel with my girlfriend, and in the middle of the night, I felt uncomfortable sleeping in such a comfortable mattress. So I slept in the ground." Do you see? Because your body is programmed. if you have lived for many, many years in the same situation, you are programmed for that. And I'm like, oh my God, the person has $1 million and says this, because most of people say, well, $1 million will change me. It will not change you unless you change the mindset and you have the capacity, going back to the ball that I told you. So he spent all the money, made so many friends that he never had before, because who doesn't come for if you offer a free drink, right? So he lived that life, that having everything for 6 months, and after 6 months, when the money was gone, his friends were gone, everything was in the same level, he turned into the street. So that was the experiment that I watched carefully, and I'm like, so it is not about the physical money, it is how money and you act together.
I like that.
And most of people make it like money is God, and it's not God. It's just a form of energy, right? It's better if you have a good relationship and you treat it as a friend. It's not God. My mom used to say, here, give 100 lek, we use lek, to a dog, even the dog would not eat it. Well, she said it in
Albanian.
Yeah, right. Yeah, in Albanian, would not eat it. But so as a paper, it doesn't have that value. But the meaning that we give to money has lots of value. And we think that if we have money, we will have a luxury life and we will have everything else. And it's a coordination of all. You have to have the relationship, you have to have the money, you have to have the career, the self-fulfillment, etc., etc. So many things with the money. So it's not only about money. That's my message. It's not only about money.
I want to touch on that because you're saying that it's not just about money, it's about your mindset, it's about your belief. And I would love to know 3 aspects of the mental, physical, and spiritual when it comes to creating a better money mindset.
So when I say physical, money has 3 aspects: physical, mental, and spiritual. When I say it's physical, it is as the physical. How do you treat it if you have it? Well, mind you, right now we don't see it because we have the money on the bank. But do you take care of it as a physical money? Do you have a nice wallet to put the money? How do you treat the money?
I generally I don't usually walk around with cash.
Okay.
But I generally, with my debit card, we'll talk with my debit card, my credit card. They're in a nice wallet. They're in a secure place. I take care of it.
Okay. And so, but do you know where your money is, right? And you
Yes.
know how many accounts you have and all that. You see? And you treat it with care. And the more you take care of that, the more it will multiply. If you do not have any fears, which go to the second step, psychological and mindset. If you don't have any fear around money, it will take care of itself. You put it in a small investment, it will multiply. But if you have a fear that you're going to lose the money, well, you'll definitely lose that. I have a client of mine, I mention her very often because it was the biggest breakthrough that she had with me. She had 4 different banks account, and she put money in each of the banks. And I'm like, why do you have 4 bank accounts? And then she said, because if something happened to one, I have the other one. So she's, with all what happens, especially a recession, the index, the inflation that is going. And I'm like, but if something happened to the bank, something would happen to all of them, not to one of them. And also, she mentioned that she grew up in depression. So her parents lost all their money during depression. So now she's living in fear that she's going to lose the money. And then she said, I have been in therapy for so many years. And this is the first time that I realized that I'm attached to that fear. So it is mental, it is psychological. If you think that you don't deserve to be rich, you are not going to be. If you have that blockage that money is hard to get, you would try very hard in your life to get the money and you won't get it. And the last part is spiritual. How is it spiritual? If you only want to gather money only for yourself, it's quite selfish in my perception. You have to do something good with that, right? Have you seen that the richer you get, the more philanthropist you become? You hire more people, you recirculate the money. And if you only keep it for yourself, there is nothing there. It's not going to stay there. It doesn't have a meaning. And I will tell you another story because I have lots of stories with my clients. I have actually had a client of mine that he was like had a hoarder disorder, I call it, that he would make lots of money. He was good at making money, but living as if he was poor. He lived in an apartment. I never saw it, but the way he described it, dark. And he rented all the properties that he had. He died. People found him after 1 week, and all his money went to the shelter for dogs and animals. So, he was able to make the money. Do you see why I emphasize the spiritual part of that? It has to have meaning. It has to have a meaning. You cannot just accumulate the money or living in need for money. It has to be a balance.
I love that. And it is a balance in life. You have to know, like, if you're going to be receiving that money, how are you going to be redistributing it so that it can help grow more? It's like planting trees, watering the garden. Yes, you have to be selfish and get to a level where you're comfortable, where you're able to give back, but you also always have to have that mentality of sharing the wealth.
That's right. To recirculate, I'm a firm believer that you have to recirculate the money. You cannot just accumulate and put it in a safety deposit. You can do wonderful things. You can grow your company. You hire more people. You feed more families. You create a wonderful team around you. It's amazing if you come from that mindset that I will have the money, multiply, help other people, and also myself.
It's an amazing method of thinking, and it's a belief system that will take you to the next level. Because I've talked with other monetary experts, both in the money mindset or in investing and stuff like that, and they all kind of say the same thing. You can't having a fear of losing the money will make the money disappear quicker. When you have an idea that the money will always come to you, will always be there for you, it just comes in spades. It's like opening a faucet, and it just comes in waves. Yes.
I want to add this though, because most of people have. But why don't I have that belief in me that money will come and flow to me? It is created during childhood, unfortunately. Especially the first 7 years. If you observe lack of money, you'll have that in you. So my suggestion is that most of the people should work within the beliefs that they have inside them. Once you release that, once you do the work inside you, then the work outside will reflect. You see, if you grow up hating rich people, you are not going to be rich automatically. Because your subconscious mind will not allow that you be on that part. You don't want to be hated from other people. You see, there are lots of, it's a combination of the way the societal beliefs, the way you grew up. The first 7 years are really important in forming the beliefs in a child. And so that's why people say, but why I cannot have that belief? You go look back, where did you create it? How was created? How did you carry? What are your actions today that reflect that belief in you? Even for success, why can't you have your success? It's not about, because people think that it's all about the skills. You have to have certain skills. Yes, I agree. You have to have certain skills, but you gain the skills if you leave with the results in the end. So most of the rich clients that I have, they leave with the results in the end. They know what they want, and then other things come on the way. But normal people, they say, okay, let me work hard on this and see if I can have that. Let me do this and see if I can do that. No, wealthy clients, they're like, I want that and I'll get that. You'll have the skills on the way, you'll have anything that you need, but they live with the results in the end. And normal people, they just live day by day without having a goal.
I love it. My God. You're breaking my mind, and I love it.
No, I can see your expression. You're like, what is she talking about? Do I have that belief? And I actually saw in you a couple. You already perceived a couple of beliefs that you have in you.
Oh yes,
and you'll discover, and that's the reason why we met. I always believe that everything happened for a reason, and it is an exchange. I gain from this, and you also gain the inside.
Oh yeah, the reason I do my podcast is because secretly this is a masterclass for myself to better myself. by meeting amazing experts like yourself, Alma. Um, I want to jump into kind of the overall core here about investing in yourself. Because self investment is very important because it helps us destroy limiting beliefs. I want to know if there was a pivotal decision or investment that you made in yourself that helped your development significantly and that helped you bring your level of expertise to the next level.
Oh, wow, that's a very good question. I actually, when I say to people and circle of friends that self-development is more important than anything else, even as your career, they're like, how can you talk like that? I'm like, yes, because again, I'll repeat that. The more you go inside and you clear, the better you'll reflect on the outside. There are lots of moments that brought me to the point that I am today. When I moved here, I saw that I have, I mentioned we worked so hard, we would go nowhere.
Mhm.
Debt, mortgage, kids, and so many other scenarios that I've seen, and then I'm like, why do I behave a certain way? Why do I have such a scarcity mindset about money? And I'll mention a little story actually. When I started working in the beginning, when you are in need, one of my favorite authors actually have mentioned that when you are in need, you have a dog face, like give me, give me, give me. I'm so sorry if it visual is a bit exhausted here, but when you're in need, you're like the dog, give me, feed me, feed me. So, and I think Pablo Neruda mentioned it, and that's why it resonated with me at the time. When I would work, my husband would be, why you exhaust yourself? You come exhausted. Because I would take on every client, and someone would say in the office, would you do that? I'm like, yes, yes, yes. I would take so much on me because I would leave with that yes, I can take it. I would please my boss or whatever, and I would have more money. And this would exhaust me. Having a family and working like that, and you will collapse. So my husband is like, you are working as if we are dying. That's how you work. And I'm like, I think he's right. Why do I do that? And I start writing. I'm a firm believer of journaling. And I also have done lots of hypnotherapy sessions and lots of healing sessions. I have to tell you, because growing up in Albania was really challenging. And my family was deported and in concentration camp. And I have an unusual story. I grew up without my father, without my mother. My father was in jail for a while, so I have a horrific story per se,
Mhm.
and the trauma follows you. And so whatever I experienced, I would still live in that. No matter how much we would do, we would still live in lack. And I was always, let's save the money. Let's save the money for a rainy day, which is a very bad way of saying it. You don't save the money for a rainy day. Why don't you say, I will invest the money in something that might happen suddenly, right?
Mhm.
So if you save for a rainy day, you'll have rainy day. I promise you, because you are training your subconscious mind for a rainy day. You see,
Yeah.
and I was, let's save this, always for the girls, always for the family. I never took care of myself before, till it hit me that I was exhausted to the point I'm like, hold on, I cannot do that anymore. You're running in circle. You're running in circle. Everything save for their school, every single thing for someone that was not me. And in the moment that I'm like, okay, I have to take care of myself, it is out of my limit energy, that I can work 12 hours. The moment I started taking care of myself and being in ease, that's when the money comes.
I like that.
So every single person in this world, you owe it to yourself to heal, to remove the blockages, to remove the limiting beliefs that you have, not only about the money, but your self-worth in general. You owe it to yourself. You have this life, you make it. You make it, man. What are you going to lose? You don't want to be in deathbed and you say, oh, I wish I could have done that. Oh, I wish I would have said that. Oh, I wish. No, you have this life, you make it. You make it. You find your personal power and you make it. there. I'm a firm believer in this, and I'm like, people look at me sometimes, or if I have other conferences, and they say, "Wow, you make it like it's easy." It is that easy once you put your mind in it. It is that easy. So self-development is number one. It should come before your children. It should come before your career, before everything. Not the love. I'm not talking about love, because I love my family, my children, my husband. What I'm talking is that take care of yourself, not in selfish way. Take care of yourself. What are you giving your energy? If you're living in resentment, please do not do that, because you'll destroy your life. If you're living in resentment with the government, if you're living with other family members, spouse, parents, you're blaming everyone, you're not going to go anywhere. If you don't have a radical shift in you, you're not going to go anywhere. I have seen people for 10 years being in the same financial level, and they're telling me the same story, the same story. So the low income people talk about how bad their family treat them, how bad is the weather, how bad is the government, how bad is this, how bad is that. The wealthy client, they talk, I went in Italy, I had this flavor of ice cream, I brought you a donut. They are in positive, you live in that positive. You see, you could tell right away, there are only two ways to be. You be in lack, or you be it. There is no middle way. And it's not rocket science. You check with yourself. How am I thinking today? How am I showing up today? And even my children say, Mom, you have changed so much and you're so relaxed, because I have done my work. You do your work for yourself. You owe it to yourself to heal. You owe it to your children to be a better parent. You owe it to everyone around you. You'll be a better friend if you're in good mood. If you show up being crappy every single day, you'll lose everyone around you.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very
So
true.
you owe it to yourself. Self-development is number one. Stretch your mind. Stretch your body. Go to the gym. Stretch your mind. Have the difficult conversations with everyone. And then the spiritual part, believe in God. You are not an accident here. You believe in God. You trust completely in God that everything will be okay, and you'll be okay.
I love it. It's so true. And like as you were talking, I'm like, okay, I see this in me, and I see this in me. Like you said, you saw the sparks of recognition of me seeing those limiting beliefs, and I do have those limiting beliefs, and I'm glad that you were here, Alma, to kind of bring them to the forefront for myself and to the audience who is listening, because it's very important. We are unfortunately coming to the time limit here, which I hate because Alma, I'm having a fantastic time talking with you. You're destroying any beliefs I had with your radical thinking. But we're going to jump to the last question. Alma, I have your 10-year-old self right here beside me. She's a spitfire, full of energy, full of fun. What's one piece of advice you would love to be able to hand back to your 10-year-old self?
What piece of advice would I give my 10-year-old self? And I don't even want to think about that time, because I did not have a good time growing up. But I would take my 10-year-old self, I would sit her in my lap, hug her tight, and say that everything will be okay. Everything is figure outable. Like Brené Brown says, everything is figure outable. Do not worry. A 10-year-old self, just play as much as you can, because it's very short. I tell that to my children. Be still a child. Even when you grow up, have that child in you, be a child. Don't be so serious, and go play outside. Even though I have to tell you, a challenging childhood, I still remember that I would go from morning outside till evening, never go inside. I would get only a piece of bread and then would play outside, you see? And there was no phones at the time or anything, so I really cherish that memory. It was all about socializing and playing outside, and playing with no toys. How amazing! Not physical toys. We'll run around, and so I have done that. That I took my 10-year-old self, that everything is figure outable. Do not worry, just play as much as you can.
I love it. That's some great advice. And for us adults as well, to remember that life is about play and we should be playing more often. Um, Alma, I can't thank you enough. I'm going to jump off stage here. I want you to let the audience know where they can connect with you, how they can work with you if they're looking for someone to help them with their mindset around money. So the floor is yours.
I I am on Facebook. I have Instagram. I'm on TikTok recently, and have the website is www.almatarelli.com. And I also mentioned that I have a free PDF for the listeners. You can reach out, message, Facebook, Instagram, and you can reach out for this PDF because it's really useful. I put a considerable amount of work on this PDF, and it's 8 steps of launching a business. So from the name searching to the type of business that you want to have, if you want to have a sole proprietorship, if you want to have a corporation, if you want to have a partnership, and to all the accounts that you can have with Canada Revenue Agency and other accounts till the day of launch. So it's a wonderful PDF that I have prepared. Take advantage of that. If you are thinking to launch a business, it would be a great idea to have this information. And I also thank you again, Phil, for having me here, and I wish you luck and prosperity.
Alma, thank you so much for being here. I'm looking forward to taking a look at that PDF because it's always useful. The knowledge, self-investment knowledge, taking yourself to the next level. See if you've forgotten any steps in your journey to launching your business. It's always great to have a tax accountant tell you what you need because they know all the super secrets that the government doesn't want us to know. So Alma, thank you so much. I'll make sure that they're all in the notes down below so that my audience can get a hold of you and connect with you. And again, I can't thank you enough for being here.
You're welcome and have a great day.
To my audience, thank you so much for listening in, and I wish you all the best. And remember to always invest in yourself.